Anything God is pointing the church to today, the Bible says, if the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? In Jesus, in Matthew 21:13, he says, my house shall be called a house of prayer. He said, but ye have made it a den of thieves. In Micah chapter 4, verse 1, he says, in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and then shall people flow to it. The word cannot flow to the church if the church is not established on top of the mountains. If the structures are not in place, we cannot make impact. We cannot make impact. Because what you see going on the altar of God did not just start today. It started little by little and little by little. And I also want to say, if God has called you as a minister, let's say you're married, and God has called you as a minister, and yet you have your spouse, let's say you're a woman or you're a man, God called you as a minister, you're the main person called the ministry, you have your wife. Please and please, the house of God is not a family affair. The altar of God is the altar of God, and you got to treat it holy. Moses had a wife, but we never heard of Deborah going into that altar. Deborah was a prophetess, but we never heard of the husband doing certain things. Why? We learn to separate certain things. I know we have so many teachers today. They will learn to say, I'm not saying kick out your husband or kick out your wife. No, that person is a helpmate. But if they must function on that, let them go through training. We're talking about souls, child of God. I don't know if we understand the gravity of what it means that God has given us a flock and has handed souls unto us. So we're going to account for the souls. Doctors take their time to take care of their patients. Because they're going to account for that patient. If something happens and something goes wrong, they're going to be questioned about that. So how comes the church deals lightly when it comes to the issues of souls? How comes the church deal lightly when it comes to issues of souls? That is not your altar, that is God's altar. And in this kingdom, there are structures. There are patterns for everything. You're going to see why God gave Moses the structures of it, of how to